Wuthering Waves was released in a less than satisfactory state, and I hope that's not a controversial take. I mean, come on. It's still not too good, even still, weeks in. Of course, it is better and there's improvement. It is way better than it was day one. But there are still things that kind of just irk me, and I'm like, come on, we gotta fix this. I do feel for the most part, the systems, like the core systems, are pretty good. Some of them are kind of half baked, but for the most part, they're well thought out and fleshed out as much as they could be for a gacha game. And also with the scope that they were going for with this game. But there are still things that are in the game where it's just like, this is not a quality game. So let's start with what you're forced into at the beginning of the game. The story. The story sucks. I think everyone knows it. They revamped the story, I heard, but it's still bad. I mean, it's really bad. I enjoy a bad story. I'll eat that trash up. I mean, come on, I will. But this stuff is just like boring. And because you're forced into it in the beginning of the game, like they gotta fix this because they're definitely gonna lose players, and they definitely lost players because of how bad the introduction is. It's just something that I don't understand why they haven't fixed. Even more of that is the voice acting for Yang Yang and Chisha, or Chixia, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but they need to go in and redo the voice lines because they don't have the enthusiasm. They're not loud enough. They don't have that enthusiasm. And same with Baizi for a little bit, because you also like interact with her at the beginning. It's just not up to the standard that I expect, especially when you hear the other characters. Like, they just don't match. They don't have that enthusiasm the other characters have. This isn't a stab at the voice actors, and I am on the English dub, which, you know, that maybe the other dubs sound good, but I'm gonna play in English. I speak English as my primary language. But I just think that whoever was directing the English voice lines or overseeing the English voice lines, they dropped the ball with these characters, because the other ones sound great, but these ones, they just don't have that enthusiasm. I think you know what I'm saying. If you played the game, you understand what I'm saying. They're just not loud enough. They're not enthusiastic enough. Yang Yang sounds bored, bro. She sounds like she's reading. I'm gonna fall asleep. Sounds like she's reading me an audiobook. Like, come on, please. Have some enthusiasm. Oh no, the world is ending. Like, come on, man. I could do better. Maybe not in the voice acting department, but in the enthusiasm department, I could definitely. The introduction is definitely trash, and the rest of the story is meh. As I said, I like bad stories, but even still, I was bored. Of course, it can get better. This is a game that is going to get updates every few weeks, so there's going to be more story, but they kind of dropped the ball at the beginning. I think one of the bigger problems with the story is because the characters don't seem so interesting. I just don't get interested in the characters. I don't know if this is a personal thing. I can't say that this is objectively like a half-baked thing, but I think that the story is so kind of like bad that I get an unfavorable opinion of many of the characters, because they were part of that boring story. They didn't really interest me at all. As I said, I can't say that's objectively half-baked, but I feel like other people can resonate with this. Now, something that you can say is definitely half-baked is that the voice lines get cut off before being finished, at least for the English dub. As I said, I don't know about the other dubs, but for the English dub, voice lines get cut off before finishing if you are on autoplay mode. It's not all voice lines, but it's definitely not a rare occurrence for it to happen. And doubling down on this, because you don't hear the voice line fully, maybe you won't see anything, but another problem is dialogue text goes off the screen for the subtitles, so maybe the voice line gets cut off and the text goes off the screen, so you have no idea what the person's saying. I don't understand how this isn't fixed. I thought that this would be fixed by the time Yinlin came out, but it's still a problem, and I know that this isn't that hard to fix. Games get very intense. There's a lot of like complexity to games, but I know that this is something that they could definitely fix. Of course, it's not high up on their priority list, probably because it's not like a game-breaking bug, but it does affect the experience. Another thing that I just can't understand why it's not in the game is a countdown for the stamina. I know it's every 6 minutes, but come on, give me a countdown for when the next one's going to pop up. If you play the game at the same time every day like I do, what's going to happen is you're going to be in the cycle and you're going to have your stamina refreshing still from the last day, but you won't be there yet. You'll be at like 239, 238, 237, around there, right? It only takes a few minutes to do all your dailies, all your stamina and stuff. So it's an everyday occurrence for me to run into this problem where I'm like 1 or 2 stamina off of having enough that I can do another run of something. And having a countdown would at least give me this closure of, okay, what can I do in this time? Because I'm trying to get out of the game. I mean, that's how the game is, right? You do your stamina, you do your dailies, and you get out. If the game wanted you to be on all the time, there wouldn't be a stamina system in the game. I literally cannot understand why this feature isn't in the game, though, because every other game has it. I mean, their competitors, Genshin has it, Honkai Star Rail has it. I assume Zenless Zone Zero has it. Actually, I'm quite sure it does. I played the beta, and I'm quite sure it has that. Also, I'm not a fan of Zenless Zone Zero. I only played the second beta. I didn't play the third beta, but my god, that game needs some work. And it's coming out very soon, so I guess we'll see how it's improved. Another thing that just like this pees me off and is objectively like hey, this is half baked, how is this not like a fixed problem, is when you load up the game on PC, the custom cursor doesn't show up. I don't know why, but you have to tab out then tab back in for it to show up, and this makes me angry, and it also confuses me because I'm like, am I tabbed into the game or am I not tabbed into the game? What's going on here? Yeah, Punishing Gray Raven, their previous game, has a PC client, and it's had it for a year. It was in 2024, and this is from 2023. So how is this a problem? I know, I understand this is like such a minuscule thing to like say, but it's like, I don't even understand how this is a thing that exists. Another thing is performance issues. I'm on a pretty darn good PC. I'm running Elden Ring fine. I'm running Baldur's Gate 3 fine. I'm running other games that are pretty intense fine. So if I can't run anime game fine, I don't know if it's on me, man. Now, fine might not be the right word because I do run Wuthering Waves fine, but sometimes I just get these random FPS drops and I can't understand why. Like, it's not even like I'm doing something combat intensive. My only guess would be that I am loading something in and that's why, but I still don't think that's the case because I've had FPS drops like in the Tower of Adversity. The minimum requirements are quite high. I mean, you need a 1060. It's not like it's that crazy to get like a 1060. I have a spare 1060 sitting on my dresser over here, but I have more than that. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. I have a 5800X, and it's like I'm even higher than the recommended device requirements, and I'm still getting these FPS drops. So there's definitely an optimization problems in some part of the game. Another thing that they said they fixed, but I still run into this problem, is that the camera will just like not be a camera for a bit. It'll just like chill. It'll get stuck places. Like I'm trying to fight. I remember it's in one of my videos. I'll play the clip right now, but I'm trying to fight the enemies in the Tower of Adversity and my camera's just like looking somewhere else and I can't move it. It's stuck there. And maybe it has something to do with the lock-on feature, but I don't understand. Like, can we fix this, please? Something that really makes me unhappy, and I hate when games do this, is artificially stalling you. Wuthering Waves does this for, I think, almost everything when you're using your stamina. Once you do a thing that you have to use stamina to collect, you have that star come up, or whatever you want to call it, where you actually go to use your stamina and collect your rewards. But there's like this timer where it's like, hey, the prompt to actually collect the rewards isn't there for like a few seconds. And I know it's only a few seconds, but come on. The game knows that the event is over or that I have completed the task in which I need to do in order to collect the rewards. So why can I not collect the rewards instantly? Why can't I go to the thingy-majiggy and collect the rewards? It's because they are artificially lengthening the time. I know this is something simple, but it still is something where I hate when games don't give me a control of things. I like having control at all times. It's just like, please fix this. I know they said they're getting the cutscene when you do tacit fields, which, thank you, that's great, that's a start. But can we also get rid of the 5-second timer that doesn't allow you to pick up your rewards? And now, I know some of these things you might argue are half-baked or not half-baked, but I am here to bring you something that is undeniably half-baked, and it's a continuity issue. In order to craft weapons in this game, you need standard weapon molds. So when you click on the standard weapon mold, you'd expect it to tell you where you get those. It tells you can get one from Scar, and it tells you can get one from the big turtle, the Bellborn, whatever. But what it doesn't tell you is you can also get one from the Dreamless. Why does it not tell me I can get one from the Dreamless? I understand, this is something so small, but please, this just screams half-baked. It's like they didn't think about it fully when they were making this item. Another problem that I actually ran into today from the new survey event where you go out, you do blah, 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 you do task, and you get Astrite. So I log on, I see that there's this new event. I can't figure out where to go. I can't figure out how to actually do the tasks. I'm clicking on things. I go to where the picture is because I'm like, maybe I have to go to the picture. This is like a survey thing. Maybe I have to do some sort of thingy. No, I couldn't figure it out. So you know what I did? I felt so stupid. I went on YouTube. I had to go on YouTube and look, how do I do event in Wuthering Waves? Because I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard. But apparently it is for me. So I go on YouTube, I look it up, and apparently you have to relog for the quests to show up. What the hell, man? How is this a thing that exists? I like, how is this a problem? How do we fuck it up this bad, man? Like, how is the event showing, but the quests aren't? I don't understand. I don't understand how we got the event window here, but not the quests in the event window. I just don't understand, man. The reason I don't understand is because do they not check these things in advance? It's just like, how did we not test this stuff? How did we not test that the event actually shows the thing and you don't have to relog to see it? How did we not test that the dialogue for the English voice lines doesn't get cut off, or same for the subtitles? How did we not test that? If we are going to localize our game, why don't we have at least one person just check Does it work in that language? I understand that the beta people were able to get into before the game was released only was in, I believe, Mandarin. I don't know if it was in any other languages. I think it was Mandarin also because it's a Chinese company. It could have been another language. I don't know. But it was only in one language. But could we not do some like private testing? Like, why couldn't Kuro Games just have one person go through, play the game in English, and be like, yep, it's pretty good. One final thing that pisses me off, okay, and this one pisses me off more than anything this game has, okay? And it's something kind of simple, but it also, like, come on. It's the fact that when you log out in the game or you go back to the main menu, you actually log out. Like, I just want to go to the main menu. I don't want to log out. But it logs me out either way. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to turn the game off. And you know the only other way to turn the game off without logging out is to Alt F4 on PC. That's what I do. I Alt F4 this game. I don't go to the main menu and then I quit. No, I Alt F4. Because that's what I have to do to not be logged out instantly and have to log back in again. And because I signed up with the Google account, I actually have to like hit my Google account, then I have to go into a browser. I have to say yes, log in with this account, this email, and then I go back into the game. I know. I did that a little bit to myself, but at the same time, I don't see why I can't stay logged in. I have rambled a lot, but I want to talk about things that I just don't like in this game now. I talked about some stuff that I can say yes. I believe that this is half-baked. I believe if you are using your brain cells a little bit, you can also agree that this is definitely half-baked. This is something that the game should have thought about more before implementing or before releasing. The things I'm about to talk about are things I don't like, but I also don't think are half-baked. I think they're just things that I dislike. Thing number one, the premium currency is way too expensive. If I pay $100 fucking dollars, I should get at least a guaranteed 5-star. There's no ifs or buts. If you pay $100, you should be guaranteed that 5-star character. Is that a controversial take? Is that really a controversial take? I mean, their pricing model is insane. I know they hit the Genshin playbook. I understand. They did the Genshin playbook. They're like, hey, Genshin did it. We're going to do it. But my God. Well, if you don't have that top-up bonus, that like double top-up bonus for your first purchase, you are not guaranteed enough currency to get a 5-star character. You could pay, get this, $100 and you can't get one anime character. You can't get this one guaranteed anime character. That is absolutely wild. I appreciate the battle pass, and even more so, I appreciate the $5 get your ass right every day thingy-majiggy. I don't know what it's called. I know it's called the Welkin in Genshin, but whatever that thing is, I appreciate that thing because that's the best bang for your buck. Next up on the chopping block is, why is the glider so slow? Even if you're out of combat, glider takes stamina. You don't take stamina when you're running out of combat. Like, why is glider taking stamina out of combat? Okay, maybe, it's so exhausting holding on to that goddamn bar. But why is it also so slow? You can go faster running than you can using your glider, and running doesn't use stamina out of combat. But even if you're out of combat, gliding does. What is the point? I want the freaking glider to go sprinting speed. When I have to glide somewhere, I feel like I'm going to grow a beard. It's going to turn gray by the time I make it there. Next up is the combat, and this is where it's going to get a little juicy if you made it this far. I think the combat is not suited for multiple enemies at a time. Now, this is a big problem in Wuthering Waves because of locking onto target. You could just play unlocked, but I hate playing unlocked because it will constantly target switch. If some enemy gets closer to you, even if you're mid-combo, you're just going to start hitting the other enemy. That shit pisses me off. I want to attack this guy, not the other guy. And yeah, this is a problem in Genshin, but the thing is, Genshin doesn't have a locked camera so you can look around, and also, let's be real, getting hit in Genshin doesn't really matter, man. Getting hit in Wuthering Waves matters more because enemies do more damage and you have less health. You need to be more vigilant about dodging. And the problem is, if you're attacking an enemy in front of you and you're locked on, or even if you're not locked on, with how the camera is, I mean, sometimes, I don't know. Either way, I mean, you're fighting the enemy, but there's an enemy behind you and it just freaking hits you. And it's like, well, what was I supposed to do? There is an argument to be made that proper spacing, proper positioning could play a factor in this. Like, if there's an enemy behind you and there's an enemy in front of you, just go behind one of those enemies, go behind the enemy in front of you, turn around, and now both the enemies are in front of you. There's an argument for that. I do believe that's where there could be some skill expression, but if you're playing locked camera, once again, it's kind of a pain. There is a little bit of skill involved, but I also think that it's a big pain in the ass. Now, something that alleviates this problem almost fully is a grouper. Grouping is very nice. That's why Kazuha is so awesome in Genshin. That's one of the many reasons he's awesome, I should say. But when you group all the enemies, you can make sure they're all in this one spot. You don't have to worry about getting hit from the back while you're not looking. And it's something that is very nice. Unfortunately, we have very few groupers right now. Hopefully we'll get some more in the future. But it's just something that I don't believe when you're trying to make hardcore combat. And this goes for Elden Ring too, all the Dark Souls franchise, all the FromSoft things. When you're trying to make hardcore combat, having fights where there's more than one enemy is always going to be difficult for the player. One way developers can alleviate this problem is by making it so that enemies can't attack at the same time. In Elden Ring, I know everyone hates the Godskin duo. It's very rare that they attack at the same time. They're not supposed to attack at the same time. But in Wuthering Waves, I mean, there's like a bunch of ads, and yeah, they're just going to attack whenever. They're not coded in, okay, let me wait for other guy to attack, and then maybe I can attack, alright? Enough of me yapping about the combat, I feel like I've made my point. I don't feel like the game is suited for multi-target combat. I do just want to say one more thing about the combat, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, and that is that a lot of people say this game has hard combat, and I think no. No, it does not. This game was designed with mobile in mind. The combat is not going to be hard on PC, not on any other thing, only on mobile. If you're on mobile, yeah, it's going to be hard. I'd be bashing my head against the wall before I play this game on mobile, okay? Same thing with even Genshin. Even Genshin. Honkai Star Rail, awesome on mobile. Oh my god. Mwah. But an action game? We are not playing that on mobile. The game could only be made so hard because it was made with mobile players in mind. So for someone on PC like me, it's really not that much of a problem. If I want a challenge, I can go play other games, and I do. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring in anticipation for the DLC. But I just don't think that the difficulty factor is a selling point for this game. Comparing it to Genshin, yes, it's harder than Genshin in some ways. As I said, getting hit in this game matters more. But at the same time, you have a near infinite supply of healing. It's only on cooldown for characters, right? So you can heal infinitely. And it has ran into the same problem that Genshin has because of this, where the hardest combat is not locked behind whether you can be good at the game, it's locked behind whether you do enough damage in a certain time window. The Tower of Adversity is nearly a spitting image of the Spiral Abyss. You have to beat it in a certain amount of time, or else you don't get the points. This is not an expression of skill, this is an expression of can you do enough damage in a certain amount of time. And the same goes for the holograms. You have a certain amount of time to defeat the boss, or you lose. It was designed this way because the developers know that skill is not an issue in this game. It's just not. When there is healing, when there is shielding, it's just not going to be an issue. That is why they time gate it, and it is a DPS check. If you can't beat something, you could argue, yeah, it's a skill issue. Oh, I died. Oh, I got hit too much, so I couldn't do DPS, right? But at the same time, you have to do a bunch of DPS in order to win. It's a DPS check. It's not a skill check. Compare that to something like Elden Ring, where, yes, you have healing, but it's finite, and in addition to that, you take more damage. Bosses can kill you in a few hits. And it is also very dangerous to heal because half the bosses in that game input read and will throw something at you when you try to heal. And people will say, they don't have input reading. They're not coded to input read. BS, man. BS. I don't care what the code says. I know damn well they're doing something. But I feel like I made a point on this thing too. Is the game isn't hard. There's a mobile bottleneck for difficulty. In addition to that, when there is infinite healing, it will not be a skill check, but a DPS check. Because that is the only way they can make it somewhat difficult for the player. You can either pay, or you can grind good echoes and level up your characters in order to do that DPS check. Wow, I've been talking for a long time. I don't know how long this is going to be, but right now it's about to be 43 minutes of me yapping. So I'll talk about one more thing that I don't like, and I've already brought this up. It's the stamina system, and I understand that this is a gacha game. There's going to be a stamina system. It's a mobile gacha game. How could you not expect stamina system? I am totally against any stamina system. I think you should be able to play the game when you want to, and when you don't want to play the game, you shouldn't have to. But the problem with the stamina system is, if you want to play the game, you can only play a certain amount until you're out of stamina, and then you feel like you can no longer get any more progression in the game. So you just can't progress at all. And when you don't want to play the game, you have this feeling of, oh, I'm letting my stamina cap out, so I'm actually losing out, so you're forced to play. That same thing can be applied to the delis also. But because there's a stamina system in this game, I still think it was done pretty bad. Why do the tacit fields cost 60? Why do they cost 60? I understand, you know what? Okay, I'll accept. Fine. I'll say it's fair. The weekly bosses that you can do 3 times each week, fine. They can cost 60. You're only going to do 3 of them. So you're doing 180. That's 18 hours. But why do the tacit fields that you can do repeatedly the entire week cost 60? I just feel like the stamina system needs some tweaking. I do know they're going to add an overcap system like Star Rail has, and I believe Honkai Impact III has, where when you overcap on stamina, it will go into some sort of reserve. Also, I lied. I have one more thing to talk about, and this is something that personally goes deep into my heart. Honkai Star Rail has spoiled its players. Let me tell you that. I think Honkai Star Rail is the best mobile gacha game out there right now. I've only played 3: Genshin, Star Rail, and Wuthering Waves. But Star Rail by far is my favorite. There's one thing that every game needs to copy from Star Rail, and that is the player's control when in menus. I know that's confusing. Let me explain. Honkai Star Rail, when you are in the menus, like say you get a pop, say you claim your weeklies or your dailies or whatever, you can just get out of that. You don't have to. You can skip the little animation, and I love that. I love that so much. I feel so spoiled now because you can just skip whatever animation you want from the menus. Just don't care. Left click, gone. In Genshin and Wuthering Waves, you have to go through that animation. I don't want to see that, man. I don't care. I don't care. Let me skip through that. I know that is a very tiny thing, but it feels so fluid, and I feel like I have so much more control when navigating the menu that it has a great effect. It has such a profound effect that I want it. I want it. Give me that control. And while we're on the topic of menus, I want to talk about one final thing, and it's that the menus in this game are confusing. We're going into the game for this. I'll move myself so I'm not in the way of all the important information. Also, -1 point for a long-ass loading screen. Sorry. So let's get into the menus. Here's the escape menu or whatever, the terminal menu, whatever. I love this. I can understand everything here. There are words that tell me what these things mean, right? And look, I understand. This is a universal symbol. This is a mailbox, okay? You see that little envelope? That's mail. This is a clock. That tells you the time. This is a note. This tells you the notes. This is a camera. What do you think the camera does? Here's the gear, the universal sign for settings. Now let's go to a menu that you interact with all the time in this game. Your character menu. I don't know what this means. Okay, I don't know what this means. Character, sure, I get it. And because it's the first section that you start with, yes, I understand that this is where I go to see the character. This one. Do you know what this one means? There's 2 swords. Of course, it's going to mean weapon. What the fuck does this mean? What the fuck does this mean? What the fuck does this mean? Oh, my head's in the way. Alright, well, you know what? We'll just go to the middle for now. Alright. But you see what I'm saying here? What does this mean right here? What does this mean right here? What does this mean right here? I have no idea. Okay, so let's click on them. Oh, okay. This is what an echo is. So this symbol means echo. Now, I literally realized this live. I have like over 100 hours in this game. I think this is supposed to be the little gourd thing. I forget what this is called. The terminal, I believe. Maybe that's what it is, because you collect them all in your terminal. Maybe it's the terminal. What does this mean? They call it Forte. Let's call it skills, okay? Come on, Wuthering Waves. Let's start using our brain a little bit. Let's use universal words. Skills, not Forte. This is confusing. How am I supposed to know which one is echo and which one is skill? It's only through experience that I know this. I only know this because this is such a problem for me. I only know that this means skill and this means echo because this has become such a problem for me. It was not intuitive. This is not something intuitive. This is not an intuitive menu. I didn't know that this means resonance chain. I kind of see it though. I see it with the symbols. Okay, I look at that, I'm like, yeah, resonance chain. But how does this mean echo? How does this mean skill? I know this is a nitpicky thing, and hey, it might not be a problem for you, but if it's a problem for me, it's probably a problem for some other people too. So why don't we just get rid of these stupid symbols and put words? Why can't we put words here? Why can't we have word right here that says character or attribute details? Why can't we have one right here that says weapon? One right here that says echo? One right here that says forte? One right here that says resonance chain? Why does it have to be all these symbols that I can only assume that what these two mean, right? Now let's look. This is the symbol for echo, yes? We agree that this is our echo symbol? Okay. Is it really our echo symbol? Find the echo here. I want you right now. Find where the fucking echo is. Right here. Right now. Find it. It's one of these. It's one of these. One of these is the echo. One of them. I want you to find it. Is it this one right here? 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 The big scary enemy? Is it the big scary enemy? Or is it this one right here? It's the big scary enemy, of course. Of course, it is the big scary enemy. You're telling me that that means echo. But this also means echo. We don't even have universal symbols. I get it. I get it. This is a continuity thing, and maybe it's not an issue. But why do I have to learn that all these different symbols mean echo? Just put the word there. And how does this symbol right here mean dailies? How does this mean dailies, right? Why can't we just put a word here? Dailies. There are so many menus here. You want to know how I can go through this section right here so fast? It's because there are words that tell me what these fucking symbols on the left mean. Okay? Forgery challenge. I don't know. How do I understand that this symbol right here means forgery challenge? I don't. I have to click on it and be like, where the fuck is my forgery challenge? Where the fuck is the... there it is. There it is. There's the forgery challenge. Okay. What do I want to do? I want to do, in here, I think I want to fight the weekly bosses. Oh my freaking god, there's words that tell me that this is the section where the weekly bosses are. No heckin' way. So why can't we do this? Look at this. This is so beautiful. We have a symbol. If they want to have their little designers make a symbol, why not? Okay. But why can't we put words next to it that actually means something to the player? I'm not here studying user experience and user interface, okay? But I am a user. And what I can tell you is that my experience with the interface is not good. As I said, I'm not a professional, okay? But I feel like this is something that Kuro Games should take to heart. And for dummies like me, they should fix this, all right? They should just change the menu. I would literally cry if I hit C, my favorite hotkey to open up my characters, and I saw words here. If I saw words here, I might tear up. Be like, holy shit. I can actually go through the menu intuitively. I do not have to grind gears in my brain to understand and analyze what these mean. I don't have to trial and error and be like, okay, I want to go to my skills. Wait, this is echoes, not skills. Is this one skills? Okay, yeah, this is skills. Oh, wait, no, it's forte because we use crazy words. To talk about my point with like the control over the UI, let me just level up my Baiji a little bit. I want to get out of this menu. Please let me out. Okay, there, I could finally get out. But I don't care. I don't care. I know it's like, oh wow, Akru, you saved yourself 0.5 seconds. Man, I don't care about this menu. Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. That's my thing about the responsiveness. Honkai Star Rail, go do that. You could get out instantly. I don't care about that animation. Alright gamers, I feel like I've illustrated my point. I do enjoy Wuthering Waves. I don't know if I'm going to play it in the long run. I will play it for 1.1. I want to see how they improve. I want to see how this game goes, honestly. I really am excited to see that there's a game out here. There's competition for Genshin. I haven't played Genshin in since Farina came out, more than half a year. I don't plan to. I was going to when Arlecchino came out. I updated the launcher, then I updated the game, and I looked at that start button, and I could just not fucking care less about starting up. I wanted Arlecchino. She's very anticipated, most anticipated character in the game, I'd argue. I mean, everyone has known her for the longest time. She was so popular. I wanted her. I have enough Primogems. I don't even have to swipe a card. I don't have to do anything. I have like 32,000 saved up, but I just could not start up the game. So that shows you that I'm not a fan of Genshin Impact right now. But hopefully it'll become better. I know I did a lot of complaining. Perhaps I'll make a video talking about why I think Wuthering Waves has some good things, because I do think that there are a lot of good things in Wuthering Waves. But I noticed that I'm literally 59 minutes and 28 seconds into yapping, and that means I have to go through all this and see what I can actually cut it into. So I don't want to go through more of an hour of me yapping. So I'm hoping that Kuro Games does implement some of the changes that I'm suggesting. I don't expect them to see this video. I don't expect many people to see this video, but I do feel like I have some valid criticism. I am a bit of a whiny baby, but at the same time, I am an important whiny baby because, well, I'm a fan. Although I haven't swiped on the game yet, so I am kind of just wasting server costs for them. Sorry, Kuro. With that being said, gamers, I do have much hope for Wuthering Waves. It's not the end-all be-all. It came out half-baked, it can't recover. I am kind of tired of seeing games come out half-baked, though, with, like, incomplete things and kind of buggy. But the truth is, none of it matters if it's buggy or anything, because, hell, Baldur's Gate was super buggy at launch, and I still love that game to pieces. But there are things that I feel like this game could improve so much from such little, like having a stamina refresh timer. That's something that would just improve so much of the quality of life. With that being said, if you're interested in Wuthering Waves content, Honkai Star Rail content, or Elden Ring DLC content, well, maybe subscribe. And if you got this far, holy guacamole, please like. I mean, you listen to me yapping for this long. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that viewer attention. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day or night. See ya.